Scarlett Johansson proves once again that she is one of the very few people in Hollywood who has any shred of common sense and decency whatsoever. Someone who actually understands that she is an actress. At the end of the day, that is what she is. She isn't a political figure. She isn't any of these things, and nobody really cares about that. At the end of the day, people just want to see her act, and she seems to understand that, and I appreciate that. So in this interview that we're going to be taking a look at here, Scarlett Johansson says actors should stick to acting and stop making political statements. Something that I 100% agree with, because I am so sick and tired of actors who are trying to talk down to people, trying to tell them what they should think and say and do, and all of these different things, and continuing to push their woke Hollywood narrative out there into the culture, because it is very destructive for our culture. It is something that is continually being more poisonous to our culture by the day. It is something that is continuing to do more damage to our culture by the day, and Hollywood knows that. They're either people who make political statements in Hollywood typically are people who either have no idea what they're talking about, or they are purposely trying to mislead people down the road of the Hollywood mindset, the Hollywood ideology. This is something that most of us are aware of, and something that it seems like Scarlett Johansson is aware of as well. So we're going to take a look at this interview and see what she has to say in her own words. But before we do, I just want to give a shout out to Dwayne Morris, who let me know about the story. Scarlett Johansson said actors need to just shut up and act, and I agree. So Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson rejected the public compulsion to seek political statements from celebrities and said that actors should stick to acting instead. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice for a change? At least for the majority of Americans, yes, we would appreciate that a lot. Of course, there's always the SJWs and the wokesters who, for some reason, hang on to every single word that actors and actresses say, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But Johansson made the comments during an interview with The Gentlewoman, a British magazine. I don't think actors have obligations to have a public role in society, said the star in the popular Avengers superhero movie franchise. Which, of course, with that one statement right there, that simple statement, that is enough to send most people in Hollywood in a tizzy, because they think of themselves so highly. They think of themselves as truly the moral compass of our culture, which unfortunately it is for a lot of people, but it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be looking to Hollywood for your morals. You shouldn't be looking at these people as role models, as people to follow, to listen to believe in. That's not what you should be doing with these Hollywood people, but that's what they want you to do. And so with this very statement right here from Scarlett Johansson, I don't think actors have obligations to have a public role in society. Right there, that completely goes against the entire Hollywood narrative. Some people want to, but the idea that you're obligated to because you're in the public eye is unfair. You didn't choose to be a politician, you're an actor, she explained. Boom. Boom. Johansson has faced her fair share of woke criticism in her career. She was accused of whitewashing in 2017 when she took on the lead role in Ghost in the Shell, a classic Japanese anime story. Later in 2018, she crossed the transgender lobby when she took the role of a transgender man in a movie, Rub and Tug. She initially defended her decision, but eventually withdrew from the film after a public outrage, which of course is ridiculous, and of course Scarlett Johansson should have never back down from that. She should never have withdrawn. Of course, the studios behind it probably forced her to do that, unfortunately, because that's what studios do. So it might not have even been her decision at the end of the day. And I'm glad that she stood up against the mob for a little bit, at least until that happened. She went on in the Gentlewoman interview to exhort other actors to stick to acting. Your job is to reflect our experience to ourselves. Your job is to be a mirror for an audience, to be able to have an empathetic experience through art. That is what your job is, Johansson continued. Whatever my political views are, all that stuff, I feel most successful when people can sit in a theater or at home and disappear into a story or a performance and see pieces of themselves, or are able to connect with themselves through this experience of watching this performance or story or interaction between actors or whatever it is, she added. And they're affected by it, and they're thinking about it, and they feel something, you know? They have an emotional reaction to it. Good, bad, uncomfortable, validating, whatever, Johansson explained. That's my job. She said, the other stuff is not my job. Thank you, Scarlett Johansson. Thank you for saying what should be the obvious truth, but unfortunately it isn't when it comes to a lot of actors in Hollywood. So I'm glad that she actually talked about this a little bit, because what she is saying here is indeed true, and this is what most of us would want. We don't need actors to be, you know, beating us over the head with their Hollywood ideologies, with their Hollywood ideas, or whatever else. We don't need that. We don't, in a lot of cases, we don't want that. I don't want that. I don't need them to do that. But for some reason, because they continue to think that they are the most important people in society, they continue to do this. Of course, they also realize in a lot of cases that they have a huge impact on a lot of people in the culture. And so of course they're going to use that as a tool, as a weapon, as a way to continue to steer people into the direction that they want to steer them into, which of course is a neo-Marxist Hollywood type of ideology, which is very interesting because that's the exact same type of stuff that Walt Disney tried to warn us about, like 70 years ago or something like that, where he literally like went to Congress, to the Capitol, and he was talking about how communists are taking over Hollywood and how he is nervous about that. And I just thought that was a really interesting thing that he did a long time ago. And you're seeing it playing out today. You're seeing them become more and more bold in Hollywood, where they're continuing to push these neo-Marxist ideologies, these things that are continually to being more and more destructive by the day to the American culture, to the nuclear family, to the church body, to all of these different things that make up the backbone of our culture, of our society. And of course, that's what Hollywood wants, right? So, with that being said, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. What do you think about what Scarlett Johansson has to say here? I think she has a lot of really good stuff to say here, and I think she is hitting the nail right on the head. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for new. I'd appreciate that a lot, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
My heart